Hi, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing in this episode of Sussex Discussion, is Prince Harry spoiled or not? Now, before we get into the video, please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon so that you can be notified when we come up with new Sussex videos. All right, so the question posed just seconds ago was, is Prince Harry spoiled? Now, it's an argument that's often used to discredit the work he's done and what he has achieved. And in many ways, it's a very easy argument. We can all look at the life he was born into. There is, not quite accurately, but there's almost an accounting to the penny of the money that his family has, what they come from. I think some estimates put it at 88 billion is the family's total worth, but that's including castles and things that will remain with the national purse should they move on. But long story short, you can see that there's quite a moneyed background for Prince Harry. But that also begs the question, does money insulate you from life, from tragedy, from pain, from real experiences? I would venture to say no. In fact, sometimes being under the spotlight, sometimes having such a large platform as wealth provides, can magnify some of the harshest points in a person's life. Now, I'm not saying any of this with any kind of knowledge or ability to pathologize or diagnose any member of the royal family. This is spoken purely from my perspective as an outsider looking in. But I think we can all very much understand the universality, whether we've experienced it directly or not, but the universality of the loss of a parent. That is a pain that strikes and hits at the core and lingers and lingers and lingers. And you do not get to be insulated from that, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are working class or upper class. That touches all people at all strata and is in fact a pain that, when you are so young, very much molds the person you become, how you see the world, your sense of safety when moving through the world. And you know, I'm not speaking for anyone who's gone through this. I am lucky to not have gone through it myself, but I've read accounts, I've heard from people, and more specifically, I've listened to the people who have lost loved ones, and it leaves a mark. And I think we've all experienced, to one degree or another, the loss of someone or something very precious to us. Now, when we consider that, we can already see, to be as young as Harry was at the loss of his mother, that is a massive blow to the health of a person. Again, I am not diagnosing. I am saying, as an empathy point, we can see he's had a major struggle, and it's a struggle that will exist, hopefully to less impacting degrees, but it's a lifelong thing. Now, let's also look at the fact that, you know, his whole life he was called Spare. Spare, like that tire, that donut you leave in the back of the trunk that you bury under a little, or I think some people call it the boot, depending on where you're from. But basically, it's the thing you forget about until you need it. But I want to highlight something else about the spare that makes being a spare very interesting as a concept. Spares are ignored pretty much all the time. And they only ever are brought out when things are dire, when there's trouble, when something needs to be fixed and there's no other way to do it. So what does that mean? That means the spare is not often presented at times of joy or fun. And when we look at the media coverage of Prince Harry, where it touted his party boy status, where it highlighted every mistake he made, where, you know, conversations were allegedly bugged and his business was kind of used as fodder to allegedly distract from, you know, any other issues that might have been going on in the institution, the royal institution. You're not experiencing life as a spare, from what I see, as a joyous place. Because you are not valued intrinsically. You're valued for your use. And as most people, I think, know, it is never fun to be used. Now, I am not talking about any other proclivities or what have you. That's a whole other discussion. But when it comes to just honest relationship and your value as a person, no one wants to feel like their only value is how they can be of use to someone else. I think we all want to intrinsically be valued for who we are and for the joy of being, right? Everything else on top of that is extra. But that core of who we are is something we want to be seen for, acknowledged for, and valued for. So, when you're the spare, doesn't seem like that's really happening unless you're being used in the dire situations. And who wants to only be called? Think about it with all of your friends, right? If you've ever been the one or ever had a friend where they only call you when things are going terribly, when their day is horrible, after a while you dread their call. Now imagine living your life as that person. Living your life as the person who is only ever called when things suck. Can't be fun. Can't be fun at all. So when I look at that, I go, okay, being used, being only valued for your value in relation to someone who is deemed more important, the first heir versus the spare, losing a major foundational member of your family, your own parent, your mother, right? That caretaking presence. Look at that and then balance that out with nice houses that you don't own and boarding schools with a bunch of boys and fame. And not the kind of fame that's you're famous because you did a movie people like and it's springing from your passions. It's fame because you were born to a certain person on a certain day, and that's it. And now they're going to be, the press, the public are going to be in your business forever, and they think they own you because they pay 1 penny a year or whatever the number is. I honestly don't know it. But a small amount, less than the price of a coffee a year, to your family that you might not ever see directly, right? That's not looking like an even trade. That actually looks like being a puppet. And I'm not making an accusation in that. I'm saying from my perspective, in my opinion, that is what it's looking like. Now, okay, so the question is Harry spoiled? All right, let's look at, he was born into this wonderful gilded platform. Some call it a cage, some call it a stage. But it is what it is. He is Prince Harry. Now, he not only decides, I'm going to work for a living, which many people within the institution seem to just call being that royal title their job. But Prince Harry says, I would rather go into the military where I will be trained. And I imagine for his training, he didn't get to skip the part where they yell at him, call him names, do a little bit of hazing, and require he does a lot of physical labor, mental labor, precision labor, and do it on time. I doubt he got to skip that part of training. So he elects to go into a job that will require him to face danger and to be relied upon by people, regardless of what his rank is or where he was born or where they were born or what language either of them were born speaking. He is now in a job, these are the military years, where he is relied upon and his ability to deliver can literally mean life or death for his fellow, men in arms and women. That's not looking like an easy job. I think very few people would call veterans going to war easy. Whether or not you agree with the war or, its political ramifications and implications is a discussion for another time. We're just talking about the actual job of soldiering. And it's not an easy one. When his position was compromised, he had an easy out. He could have done the spoiled thing and said, all right, well, I did my time. I'm good. I get to go home and put my feet up on a cushy couch in a castle somewhere. Did he do that? No, he did not. He said, I'm going to go back to training in a different way. I'm going to learn helicopters. I'm going to learn whatever it is, because admittedly, I'm not an expert on his military career. But he went back. because he wanted to continue to help. How many of us, being honest with ourselves, will choose war over a cushy couch in a castle? Castle. Most of us are picking castle, let's be honest. So, is that a spoiled thing to do? From this perspective, I'm not seeing that. Okay, so then let's look at post-military life. He is participating in multiple charities, founding charities, ones that support veterans, Invictus, the Invictus Games. He is working with Sentabale. He founded it, and with Prince Seiso, and if I mispronounced that, my apologies. He is working with the Halo Trust. He's working with Wellchild. He's founding Heads Together. He's coming up with Travelist. He's really filling his time. But wait, I thought he could just kick back, be a prince, and enjoy life. That's what spoiled people do. They let themselves be spoiled. Why fill your days with activities? Why do things for other people if you are spoiled? Well, then isn't the conclusion that he's not? That can be the only conclusion. Yes, there is a difference and we must acknowledge it. A person can come from much. They can come from wealth, and they can espouse ideals that value wealth and privilege over work and humanity and your fellow person. That's entirely a way you can go. But you also have where a person can come from privilege, have wealth, but realize it is not the only thing that matters in life, and that humanity, people, community, participating, delivering results, earning your daily wage, right? Because he did earn a wage while he was in the military. Let's not forget that. And I think he donated it, but don't quote me on that. All of that is entirely possible too. I think in this world of black and white, where if it bleeds, it leads, and the headlines are trying to create a narrative that is easy to swallow, and it's easy to say rich people bad, poor people good. The truth is good and bad come in all forms. The world is full of shades of gray. And when we look at Prince Harry and we look at the decisions he's made, if we were to compare him to somebody spoiled and rich, we could not say that they are the same. We could not say that they have the same perspective, nor could we say that we'd relate to them the same. Prince Harry has more in common with the average human being, whether they belong to a republic or a kingdom, right? He has been in the military. He has lost friends to war. He has worked for his wage. He has volunteered. These are things that don't require a birthright or a title to do. And he actively chooses them. And then, if we look at post-married life, what did he do? He didn't say, well, now I have a family, now, my kids are going to get titles. Let me just sit up, relax, and just enjoy being a family man. And he could have. That would have been potentially the spoiled thing to do, to say, all right, I've done my time. And in fact, it might not even be spoiled. That might just be what, any one of us in that position would do. But that is not the choice he made. That is not the choice he made with his wife, Princess Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. The choice he made was to found an organization together, a nonprofit, Archwell. The choice that they made was to reinvent themselves in a new country, to take what they had, what they could figure out, and build their life. And for him, building his life away from the people that he knows, away from the security, both literal and figurative, that he knew growing up, and go toward the challenge of building himself in America, finding the American dream as it looks for someone with his life and his access. Yes, did he start on third base? Absolutely. But is he carrying himself like a spoiled brat? It's kind of hard for me to agree with that statement. I think instead what we're seeing with Harry is a young man who was raised by Diana to value people, value life, and try to make the most of it and help others to enjoy theirs as well. So, that is my perspective. Comment below and let me know What do you think? Do you think Harry is spoiled? But more specifically, why? Why or why not? Because we all have opinions. I do ask that you be respectful in the comments. Do not use accusatory or inflammatory language, because this is going to be a safe and fair space. I will leave the discussion there. Comment below and let me know what you think. Is Prince Harry carrying himself like a spoiled individual, or is he in fact carrying himself like a person of substance? And please do back up your point with facts, figures, and references. Remember to be respectful. This is a place for kind discussion. Now, I'm going to say thank you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. My Patreon is in the comment section below, and I will see you in part 3 of this Sussex discussion. I look forward to seeing you there.